Hi dear students, how are you? After long days, I getting the chance to see you. Very nice to see you, dear students. I am your history teacher. I hope all are fit and fine in your home. Dear students, we know that due to the corona pandemic, the whole country has locked down itself. The country is struggling with schools, teachers, and lack of education. Most of the schools of the country have started online classes. Dear students, you must take advantage of this opportunity. Our school management also started this channel for giving the online classes to continue your study. It is easy to make the connection with you all and will help us to cover the syllabus and to maintain the flow of study. This connection is not limited to the class, but the session will be available for all. I recommend you take the practice in history, especially years and events, map, definitions, and other facts. I will love to see your individual talents and strength. Dear students, if you have any query, you can ask in the WhatsApp group. I welcome you all to join in the online classes. I hope to see you soon in the class. Stay home, stay safe. In 7th standard history, we are going to discuss about the topic lesson name is Art and Architecture of Tamil Nadu. So in this lesson, we are going to know about the learning objectives to understand the evolution of temple architecture in South India, to gain knowledge about the cultural heritage of Tamils, to know the contribution of Pallavas, Cholas, and Vijayanagara and Nayak rulers to the development of temple art in Tamil Nadu. Introduction. Dravidian architecture is of indigenous origin. It advanced over time by process of evolution. The earliest examples of the Tamil Dravidian architectural tradition were the 7th century rock cut shrines at Mahabalipuram. The absence of monuments in South India period to the 7th century is attributed by scholars to temples or to have been built in wood, which were eventually destroyed by forces of nature. In Tamil Nadu, the evolution of temple architecture took place in five stages. The Pallava epoch, AD 600 to 850, early Chola epoch, AD 850 to 1100, later Chola epoch, AD 1100 to 1350, Vijayanagara Nayak epoch, AD 1350 to 1600, and modern epoch after AD 1600. First, we are going to discuss about Pallava epoch. The Pallava epoch witnessed a tradition from rock cut to freestanding temples. The first one is rock cut. Temples were initially built by carving a rock to the required design, and then rocks were cut to build temples. The Pallava king Mahendravarman was a pioneer in rock cut architecture. Mandagapattu temple was the first rock cut temple built by him. The rock cut cave structure has two pillars in the front that hold it. All the cave temples have simple sanctum cut on the rear side of the wall with a frontage projecting mandapa pavilion. On either side are two dwarapalas, gatekeepers. This cave architecture reached its decadent phase after AD 700 and gave way to the large structural temples, probably because the structural temples provided a wider scope to the sculpture to use his skill. The shore temple at Mahabalipuram, also called the Seven Pagodas, was the built by Pallava king Narasimhavarman II. It is the oldest structural temple in South India. The structural temples were built using blocks of rocks instead of a whole country as earlier. Narasimhavarman II, also known as the Rajasimha, built the Kanji Kailasanatha temple. The Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanchipuram was built by Nandivarman too. Mahabalipuram, Mamallapuram is built of the cut stones rather than the carved out of caves. It has two shrines, one dedicated to Shiva and the other to Vishnu. The Tamil Dravida tradition is exemplified by rock cut monuments such as Panchapandava Rathas, namely Draupadi Ratha, Dharmaraja Ratha, Bhima Ratha, Arjuna Ratha, and Nagula Sakadeva Ratha. The outer walls of the Rathas, especially of Arjuna, Bhima, and Dharmaraja, are decorated with necks and motifs. The necks have the sculptures of gods, goddesses, monarchs, and scenes from the mythology. The Arjuna's penance carved on the face of the granite boulder in a magnificent relief measuring approximately 100 feet long by 45 feet high. Next, we are going to discuss about the topic name is dear students, Pandya temples in the Pallava epoch. Early Pandyas were the contemporaries of the Pallavas. Unlike the Pallavas, Pandyas installed deities in the sanctums in their cave temples. More than 50 cave temples have been founded in different parts of the Pandyan Empire. The most important of them are found in Malayadi Kurichi, Anaimalai, Tirupparangundram, and Tiruchirappalli. These caves were dedicated to Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. In the Shiva temple of Pandyas, the linga is carved out of the mother rock. The figure of the Nandi is also carved out of the rock. The Sivalingam in the sanctum is installed in the center with enough space all around it. The sanctum also has the drainage canal. The pillars are divided into three parts and are of different sizes. The pillars have no uniform ornamentation. The backside walls are divided into four nikes on which the bas relief images of Shiva, Vishnu, Durga, Kanapati, Subramanya, Surya, Brahma, and Saraswati are carved. The Dwarapalas speak of on either side of sanctum sculptures. The walls of the caves are decorated with the bas relief of the god and goddesses. In the case of structural temples, the walls of the sanctums are free from image decorations. Instead, the superstructures and the pillars have the sculpture. The sculptures look majestic, having the elaborate soldiers, slim bodies, beautiful ornaments, and high crowns. Tirupparangundram, Anaimalai, and Kalugumalai have the bas relief of many deities Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Parvati, Subramanya, Ganapati, and Dakshinamurti. These are some remarkable images of the cave temples. Many early Pandya images unearthed from Madurai and its surrounding areas are now in Tirumalai Nayakar Museum at Madurai. Next, we are going to discuss about paintings. Cave at Sittanavasal, 15 kilometers away from Pudukottai, and at Tirumalapuram in Sankarankovil Taluk, Tirunelveli district, have outstanding early Pandya paintings. Sittanavasal was a residential cave of the Jain monks. They painted the walls with fresco painting. Unfortunately, we have lost many of those paintings. Among the surviving ones, the Lotus Pond is notable for its excellent execution of colors and expression of the scene. The image of lotus flowers, leaves spread all over the pond, animals, elephants, buffaloes, swans, and man who plucks the flowers look brilliant. The Sittanavasal paintings have similarities with the Ajanta paintings. Tirumalaipuram, from where we get early Pandya paintings, are in a damaged condition. The early Chola epoch. The Chola came to limelight in AD 850 under Vijayalaya Chola and continued to govern the region for about 400 years. For the early Chola epoch, the temple at Thadapuram near Tindivanam in Tamilnadu is worth mentioning. The early Chola architecture followed the style of Sambian Mahadevi temples with the increased number of Devakosta. Like figures can classified as belonging to Sambian style. Tirupurambiyam is an illustrious examples of early temple that was refashioned in the days of Sambian Mahadevi. Next, Tanjavur Big Temple. At the time of Big Temple of Tanjavur was constructed, it was huge temple complex. The 216 feet Vimana structures over the Garbhagriha is notable as it is one among the tallest man-made Sikharas of the world. Due to its massive height, the Sikhara is called the Dakshina Meru. The huge bull statue Nandi measures about 16 feet long and 13 feet height, and it is carved out of the single rock. Next, we are going to discuss about the topic name is, dear students, Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Gangaikonda Cholapuram served as the Chola capital for about 250 years until the decline of the Cholas and the rise of the Pandyas. The Pragadishwara temple of the Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Rajendra Chola, is undoubtedly as worthy as successors to the Pragadishwara temple of Tanjavur. The height of the temple is 55 meters. The sanctum has stories, as in the big temple at Tanjavur. The outer wall has many projections with and races on three sides. In the next, there are the images of Shiva, Vishnu, and other gods. Sarasuram. Sarasuram near Kumbakonam is a later Chola period temple rich in architectural splendor, dedicated to Ravat Iravadeshwara Shiva as god of Lord Indra's elephant. Rajendra II constructed his temple. This temple is another landmark of the Chola architecture. The Maha Mandapam is an elaborate structure. The entire structure looks like a Radha because it has four wheels at the Maha Mandapam. The sanctum and pillars have many sculptures, which are miniature of various mythological figures. A compound wall runs around the temple with a cobram. Later Pandyas. The contribution of later Pandyas to South Indian art was significant. A case in point is the cave temple at the Pillayarpatti near Karaikudi, Tamil Nadu, belonging to 13th century. This temple is important both for its sculptures and for an inscription. A beautiful Ganesha is carved facing the entrance. The importance of the figure referred to Desivinayaka in the cave inscription is that there are two arms with the trunk turning to the right. Next, we are going to discuss about the topic name is, dear students, Vijayanagara epoch. During the Vijayanagara epoch, a new form of the construction emerged. It is the Mandapam, too, where the gods are carried every year. Pillared outdoor mandapas are meant for public rituals, with that ones in the east serving as the waiting room for devotees, which adorn the large temples. These mandapas attract attention for its monolithic pillars. On these pillars are sculptured horses, lions, and the gods. The Kalyana Mandapam at the Kanchipuram Varadarajaperumal temple and at Vellore Jalakandeshwara temple are notable examples. The most celebrated of these mandapas in temple of the Madurai is the Pudu Mandapam. The main features of the Vijayanagara and Nayak architecture are decorated mandapas, ornamental pillars, life-size images, copras, prakaras, music pillars, floral oaks, and stone windows during the 15th to 17th centuries. Tanks are attached to the temples. Gateways to the temples are constructed from four directions with massive copras. The practice of the fitting the mix with the sculptures continued during the Nayak period. There was an increased use of major sculptured figures as found at the Alakiya Nambi temples at Tirukurangudi, Tirunelveli district, and the Gopalakrishna temple in the Ranganatha temple complex at Srirangam. In Tamil Nadu, the image of deities attached to composite columns gradually freed themselves from the core column. The thousand pillars mandapam of the Meenachi Sundareswara temple, Pudu Mandapam at Madurai, Aradhi Mandapam at Tirukurangudi, and Vanamamalai temple at Nanguneri are illustrious examples for the Mandapam architecture of this period. The pillars of this period are more decorative than the previous period. Monolithic, gigantic yali pillars, horse pillars with life-size portraits of mythological and royal family members, common folk animals, and floral works were made. Musical pillars were the peculiar features of this time. A sitting line at the top of the pillars is a common feature in the mandapas. The windows are carved out on the walls of the sanctum and mandapas. The Jalakandeshwara temple at Vellore, the temples at Tadikombu near Dindukkal, and Krishnapuram near Tirunelveli, and Subramania shrine in the big temple Tanjavur are most remarkable edifices of this time. Vinayagar and Nayak paintings are seen at Vardaraja Perumal temple at Kanjipuram, Kodalalagar temple at Madurai, and temples of Srivilliputur, Tiruvallarai, Alagar Koil, Tiruvannamalai, and Srirangam. The paintings mostly have the stories from Ramayana, palace scenes, and mythological stories. Sculpture in Vardaraja temple, Kanchipuram. Modern period after AD 1600, the Sedupatis as the feudatories of the Madurai Nayaks ruled Ramanathapuram and contributed to the Ramanatha Swami temple architecture. In the temple of Rameshwaram, the predominance of the corridors is striking. It is claimed that this temple has the longest set of the corridors in the world. The temple has three sets of corridors. The outer set of the temple's corridors has the height of almost 7 meters and stretches for about 120 meters in both the eastern and western direction. The corridors to the north and the south, on the other hand, are about 195 meters in length. The outer corridor is also remarkable for the number of pillars that support it, which is over 1200 in number. Moreover, many of these pillars are decorated by ornate carvings. The innermost set of corridors is the oldest of these of the three.